Alright, so you're going to discover properties of parallelograms today. Some of the questions you should be able to answer by the end of this lesson is, what is the relationship made with the sides of a parallelogram? What's the relationship made with the angles of a parallelogram? And how we can use these relationships, what we've already learned about angles. Think about parallel lines and transversals, okay? Do you guys remember those? So keep those in your mind. And then, do you recall any relationships made with linear pairs and vertical angles? Okay, does anyone remember what a linear pair is? Linear pair, it's when you have a line and you have two angles. So that's angle 1 and angle 2. That's a linear pair. And angle 1 and angle 2 together make how much degrees? 180. That's a linear pair. Who remembers what vertical angles are? Vertical angles, it's when you have two angles as such, and angle 1 and angle 2 right here are what? Congruent. Okay? Alright, guys, be quiet. Alright, so it says, what is the relationship made with the sides of a parallelogram? Alright, question number 1, it says, what's the slope of line segment AB? What is slope? So, slope is rise over run. Okay, so here's AB. If I'm starting at A and I need to go to B, I need to rise first. So I'm going 1, 2, 3. So your rise is 3, and your run is -1. So that means that your slope is what? -3. What is the slope from B to C? All right, so B to C is rise over run. So are you really rising from B to C? You're not, correct? You're going to go down. So you're going to go 1, 2. So your rise is actually 2, but it's going downwards, so -2, correct? And your run is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that means that your slope is -2/5. All right, for CD, rise over run. Am I rising or am I actually going down? 1, 2, 3, so you're going down 3, so that's -3, and you're running how much? 1. What's -3 divided by 1? -3. Okay? And the last one, the slope from A to D. So here's A, and I'm going D. So I'm going to go 1, 2 units down, so -2, and I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So what did you guys observe? What do you guys see? Look, here's AB. It has that slope. And here's CD. It has the slope of 3. So what does that mean? When something has the same slope, what does that mean? Lines are parallel. So that means that these two right here are what? Are parallel. And these two right here are parallel. Fantastic. All right, so now you know a property of parallelograms. What does that mean? All parallelograms have what? Two sets of parallel lines. Okay? Alright. Now it says you're going to measure the length of the following segments in centimeters. So use your rulers. So for AB, let's see, here's AB. I'm going to kind of rotate my paper a little bit. So I'm going to use this. It is about 2.5 centimeters. So 2.5 centimeters. Alright, for BC, there's about 4.2 centimeters. For CD, it is about 2.5 centimeters. And for AD, it is about 4.2 centimeters. Alright, so let's talk about this. Okay, I'm doing all the work for you, so at least participate. Okay, Brandon, what do you notice about the slopes of the sides of the parallelograms, and what can you say about opposite sides of parallelograms? They're the same. The slopes, they're the same. So what does that mean? They're parallel. Good. Alright. Now that you know the measurements of the sides of the parallelogram, what can you say about opposite sides of a parallelogram? What do you got now? They're what? Congruent. Very good. All right. So opposite sides are parallel and congruent. That is true for every single parallelogram. Okay? And that's what you just discovered. Opposite sides are parallel and congruent. All right. You're going to need to use your protractors now. Okay? So take out your protractor. Actually, I need a protractor, so...
You can have one over here. Here's the recording. There we go.
What's up?
It's the recording.
Yeah.
Hello, third period.
All right. So you're going to need to use your protractors to measure angles. Okay? It says, use your protractor to measure angles A, B, C, and D, and find out if any of them are congruent to each other. Okay? So we measure angle A. Some of you guys are still having issues using your protractor, so pay attention. Remember that your protractor is going to have this little hole down here in the middle, and you have this line here. Okay? You're going to use that to match to the vertex of each angle. So for example, on angle A, I'm going to match it there. And you see how this black line that's drawn on your protractor, that one's got to match your line on your parallelogram. So as such, so now that you have everything set up, you're going to follow this line to see how much it measures. You can use your ruler to help you out, so let me kind of extend it. So it measures about how many degrees? Is it 50 or 130? Look at this angle. Does this look like something that's an acute angle? So that means that this is 130. Okay? Alright, so you're going to repeat the same process for all of them. I'm going to pause the video. You're going to try it on your own and then press play when you're ready to go. Alright, so please check your answers at this moment. You should have gotten that for angle A, it's 130 degrees. Angle B is 50. Angle C is 130. And angle D is also 50 degrees. So what can you say about opposite angles? Alright, do we understand what he means by opposite angles? Yeah. So like, look at this. A is opposite of C. And D is opposite of B. So what can you tell me about opposite angles? They're congruent. Okay? Alright, the next question was a little confusing, so let's make sure we understand what it's saying. Consecutive interior angles. Alright, let's look at the diagram. You have 4 angles on the inside, correct? Guys, you have 4 angles on the inside. What does it mean to be consecutive? So what does it say, those of you that play sports, what if I tell you that they're consecutive champions? What does that mean? Back to back, right? That means that if they won in 2014, they also did in 2015. Okay? So that means they're right next to each other. So, angle A, can you tell me what would be a consecutive angle to angle A? Angle B, because it's right next to each other. Can anybody tell me another consecutive angle? D. So A and B are consecutive, A and D are consecutive. A and C are what? Opposite. Very good. So notice, A and B, when you add them together, how much is that? A and D, when you add them together, how much is that? So what do you call 2 angles that add up to 180? Supplementary angles. They're supplementary. They add to 180 degrees. Okay? Alright, we're almost done with notes. Shh, pay attention. You're going to use the ruler and you're going to draw a straight line connecting point A to point C. So here's point A and here's point C. It says do the same thing from point B to point D. Alright, guys, I will not repeat this again. Be quiet. So you're doing the same thing from B to D. This is going on YouTube. You should be embarrassed. Alright, there's B to D. Alright, it says label the intersection point as E. So this point right here is going to be E. And now measure all of the following. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to call on you and you're going to tell me what you get. Okay? Alright, I need Josh. What's the measurement of AE? So from A to E, what did you get? 7? 7 what? I don't think that's possible. What did you get from A to E? From A to E. Pay attention, it's not even 3. I get about 1.56, 1.7. Alright, back table. Cade, what do you get for CE? Yes. Okay, so if you pay attention, look how you use the ruler. You put the 0 there, you put it there, so it measures 1.7 centimeters. Okay? Alright, back table. Garza, what's the measurement for BE? BE. It's 3. Thank you, sir. It is 3. Lastly, Tyler, what's the measurement for DE? 3. Very good. Thank you very much. All right. Ready? Pay attention. What do you notice about AE and CE? They're the same. And BE and DE. All right, so let's look at where they're located. You're telling me that this is congruent to that, and this is congruent to that, correct? So what can you tell me about the diagonals? I will give you extra points who can never tell me what happens when you have two lines that cut each other in half. What's that called? Bisectors. They are bisectors of each other.
I want extra points on my test. I said that too.
Okay. All right. So bisecting means that it cuts in half. All right. Guys, pay attention. So make sure you understand this. Okay. We're going to summarize what you learned today. Because now I'm just going to give you the homework and now you're ready to go. And everything is algebra. Okay? You ready? Look. Guys, parallelograms have two sets of parallel lines. This is parallel to that. So do you remember the symbol for parallel is this?
Parallel like train track.
That's parallel to that. And this is parallel to that. Correct? You also know that opposite sides are congruent. So this side is congruent to this side. And this side, this drawing's going to get messy, is congruent to this side. You also know now that diagonals do what to each other? They bisect each other. Okay? And last but not least, this is not on the worksheet, so pay attention. Because these lines are parallel, right here, and this is a transversal, correct? This angle right here is going to be congruent to this angle right here. Let me switch colors real quick. So let me say that again. This angle right here is congruent to that angle right there. Okay? And this angle right here is congruent to this angle right there. Alright, again, if you have parallel lines, but now you use this as a transversal, this angle right here is congruent to this angle right here. And this angle, 1, 2, 3, 4, is congruent to that angle right there. You learned a lot today. Okay? Now you're going to get this. Pay attention. You're going to get this worksheet. You're going to be working with a partner. Okay? You are going to, for example, let's say me and Julian are partners. I'm going to work number 1, and he's going to work number 2. Then we're going to switch each other's papers, and we're going to make sure that we did it correct. So right here I'm going to put that I worked it, so I will put my name, and then Julian would put his name in there. And then after you check each other's work, you put your name in there. Okay? So you have, in reality, in class, there's 4 problems that you're working on. Okay? Questions? Yes, sir.
Is it for a grade?
This is not for a grade. Does not mean you don't do it.
When are you gonna pick up the extra credit?
Brandon, that's not what I'm talking about right now. Do you understand what I'm doing right now? What you're supposed to be doing? Darren. This is not your homework. This is classwork. Your homework will not be given to you until you show me that you have at least finished 2 problems in here because of the time that this will be your homework. Okay? Alright. So now you know what you're doing. Answer keys will be online.